and welcome to another edition of Jazzy Jeff's Trading Card Review Series. I'm Jazzy Jeff. These are trading cards. Let's review. So, welcome back, guys. I believe this is episode 52. Obviously, lots of episodes have been released thus far. I'm glad you guys are having a blast. I'm having a blast making them. So, let's just chug along. Speaking of chugging, actually I'm not going to chug my water. But today's cool mug is the Ziggy mug. This end down, obviously pointing that direction. And I believe the date on this sucker is from the 80s, I want to say. Yeah, there's no date on it. But there you guys go for all the Ziggy fans in the house. Okay, so first up, I like to get the shout-outs out of the way. Obviously, thank you, Benda and Colin. The cards, obviously, if you didn't read the description or the title, obviously are Rocketeer. You both sent me a ton of Rocketeer cards, 4 packs each. I got them mixed up, and I can't seem to remember who sent what. So I'm just going to say thanks, obviously, to both of you for sending these. I'm not going to do all 8 of them, obviously, in one episode. That would be a very long episode. And I'm even going to hold off on doing these ones until later on down the line. But this episode and the next episode, as always, I'm going to split it into 2 parts. I'm going to open up both of these cards, talk about them a little bit, and then show you something a bonus item at the end of the video. So, of course, thank you, Benda, for being a tremendous fan. And same as well, to Colin Richards. And once again, I'm just going to throw these cards up here and just give him a little shout out. Obviously, links to his stuff will be in the description below, but I have to give you a shout out because you sent me these awesome cards. And like I always say, without you sending me these cards, there literally would not be an episode. So I appreciate it, guys. You don't have to, but it means a lot. So obviously, let's get down to opening up the cards. Not going to make you wait anymore. But thank you, as always, for letting me, do a quick shout-out and all that good stuff. I know there's some impatient viewers, odd pod. But that being said, here we go. So, the Rocketeer, these were actually released by Topps Trading Cards, so you guys should all know by now. 8 glossy movie cards and 1 sticker. So, I guess total of 9. This is the Walt Disney Company. They own the Rocketeer. These are from Duryea, Pennsylvania. So some more Pennsylvania cards. There's no date on the wrapper, but I'm sure there's information on the cards. Obviously, there was a Rocketeer movie along with a really bad Rocketeer Super Nintendo game. And there was also... I believe the original Rocketeer, once again, like as always, I don't do any research. I just kind of head into these segments semi-blind and semi-surprised. But I believe it was based on either an old, radio series or serial, if I'm not mistaken. When there might have been maybe a black and white show. I'm not entirely sure. Comic books, there might have been some comic books. I'm more familiar with The Shadow and those type of serial programs, and The Phantom and all that good stuff. But I don't really know a ton about the Rocketeer. So let's find out about the Rocketeer. So, here's the wrapper. Nice and shiny. Oh, okay. So this looks like merchandise for the film. It appears to be, and there's information. There's a magazine that's called the Rocketeer Movie Souvenir Magazine. So very original name. So there you guys go. So right off the bat, the first card definitely is like really awesome. I've always loved the look of the Rocketeer, the idea of the Rocketeer. You know, the whole like 50s/60s kind of serial old school look. It takes place in the past. So apparently, these are the film trading cards from the 90s film. I think it was like early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So this first card already, I'm excited. They got the guy that played James Bond twice in the 80s, or excuse me, 3 times. I believe that's Timothy Dalton. So there is that. And yeah, like the Rocketeer is meant to take place in the past, like the early 1900s. I might even be dating him a little bit. It might be like based off in like the 30s and 40s, which would make sense that swastikas would be popping up, because I know he was like battling the Fuhrer and that, you know, the Nazis and all that good stuff. So essentially, like all movie cards, they just show you scenes from the actual film. So I am actually going to open up both sets of cards. I've made the decision that I'm going to go ahead and open up both set of cards, because most of these cards aren't really worth showing every single one, because they're just scenes from the movie. So instead of splitting this up, holy mackerel, we got a first. This is a trading card review series first. Switching up the program halfway through. But yeah, something, you know, sometimes you I've said this before in the past, you get those weird cards that are like based on a movie. I don't have a whole lot to say about them. It's still fun to look at, and they're definitely surprising and cool cards. I just don't have a ton. So here obviously is a puzzle piece. This other card showed what the full puzzle would look like once it's built. So that's obviously his shoe. But I love the stickers on the back. Like, that is super awesome. Like, this is probably my favorite card from pack number 2. And this is obviously my favorite card from pack number 1. So there are those. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, these cards like aren't super exciting or anything. They're just like pictures from the movie with obviously like titles. So there is Timothy Dalton again. This is Neville's Last Stand. So just kind of explaining what's happening in these scenes. Some of these cards aren't really great. Like that, you can't even really tell like what the hell's going on. It's really strange. It's funny. This episode's kind of bringing me back to my early days of the trading card series. So, all right, I guess this is a scene where a guy is blasting off. So, kind of a strange card. It almost looks like it's cut off, and it looks like the bottom is on fire. So, really, really random. Don't really know what to say about these cards. They're just really, really mediocre and just very underwhelming. At some point, I will definitely check out the film. It's definitely going to be one of those like movies I need to get around to watching, just because it's kind of it's like a kind of a popular film. You know, I think it's one of the more like underground kind of strange films from the 90s that not a lot of people really talk about. So, sorry they weren't more exciting. But that's what happens, you know, when you open up Cards Live. Sometimes you get some weird ones. So I will definitely be holding off on doing these until later on. I may not even do an episode on these. So we'll see. But I'll definitely do a post about it. But regardless, I hope you guys, you know, Colin and Brenda aren't taking it the wrong way. I love that you gave me these. These are cool cards. But yeah, I just expected them to be a little bit more exciting, you know, especially the Rocketeer, like a dude with a rocket and everything. Like, I feel like you could definitely do some cool stuff, you know. But it's not just these cards. It's just like any trading cards where it's a movie. They just get lazy and they just like show you stilts from the movie, and it's like, why not show some behind the scenes footage or show the actors offset, or maybe like show some promotional stilts and stuff like that, instead of it just being like pictures of scenes. Because like, if I just want to see pictures of scenes, I'll put a movie on and take pictures. Like, it's just
all right, really guys. Jazzy Jeff here. So this was a request at some people that had watched my videos. They were asking if I would start doing some up close shots of the trading cards. So I figured going forward with this episode, I will obviously add this in, but there are the backs of the cards. For this particular set, I didn't really care for a lot of the cards that I got. Like I said, they were mostly just still shots from the film. So what I ended up doing was just picking out my 4 favorite cards that I really liked, and I've decided to focus on these cards. So there you guys go. There is a close-up on those. And like I said earlier, I'm going to try and get better at doing a little segment where I just show some of the cards up close so that you guys can get a better look at them. All right? So there is that.
Anyway, guys, not going to make this too long. So instead of splitting this video up, I'll just show you everything real quickly. I don't know why, I was just on like a strange kind of Spider-Man kick lately, and I've also just been like looking for an excuse to show you guys my boxed action figures. So going forward, I'm probably going to be showing you a lot of boxed action figures at the end of each trading card review episode. So these toys that I have are Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s. One of my all-time favorite 90s cartoon superhero show. Yes, Batman was amazing. Yes, X-Men was amazing. But it was something about Spider-Man that was just nostalgic to me. It stood out to me. The toys were just always so awesome, so detailed, you know, and they were just really nice, well-built toys. I still have a lot of the action figures from when I was younger, not boxed, but loose. But, you know, for 90s toys, they could have been a hell of a lot worse, and they were pretty cool, and they were pretty screen accurate, as well as comic book accurate, too. You know, a lot of the characters kept their similar looks from the cartoon, and from the comic books. So I always liked that, you know, John Semper Jr. and all the people associated with the show worked hard and kept it, you know, as accurate as they could and as they were able to. Also, I apologize. There is dust on these. And then, obviously, from the original series, they started making a ton of other series. There was water ones and slime ones and all kinds of weird, like, offshoots. So this was the Sneak Attack, Bug Busters line of action figures, which I didn't really care a whole lot for this particular line. But I've always been a huge Jack-O-Lantern fan, and they never, ever made a Jack-O-Lantern toy, at least up until this point. This toy came out a few years later. The original ones were like 93, 94, and exactly, 93, 94. And then this guy came out like 98. So, I mean, even though it's only 2 years, or 4 years later, a lot had changed at that point, you know, and it was just neat to see, you know, action figures based on the cartoon still being produced to a certain extent. He was not actually on the show, but had he been on the show, I'm sure he would have looked exactly like that. I love this giant bug. It looks ridiculous. I love the pumpkin face. Just very Halloween-y. There's some bio for him on the back. So anyway, guys, there you go. I just figured I would show you my Spider-Man action figures. Pretty cool stuff. There's a Silver Sable toy. I've always wanted to get Silver Sable as an action figure. So maybe one day I will find her. But that's it, guys. This was just sort of a wham bam thank you ma'am episode. And of course, speaking of thank yous, thank you to all of you who watched this episode. If you have any questions, comments about these trading cards or any others, leave it in the comment section below. And obviously, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And otherwise, that's pretty much it. So, thank you for watching this episode. Stay tuned. There's a lot more trading cards coming your way.
Meet Commando Cody, Sky Marshal of the Universe. He's the new screen sensation everybody's cheering in Republic's serial thriller, Radar Men from the Moon. When the Moon Monsters, under the direction of Rettig, ruthless dictator of the Moon, scheme to invade the Earth.
And have your ray gun set up ready to blast them. This time you must not fail.
Yes, Your Excellency.
The nations of the world appeal to Commando Cody, Sky Marshal of the Universe.
Cody and his assistants must be destroyed.
Okay, we'll go back to town and get them.
First to see an actual invasion from the moon in Republic's Radar Men from the Moon.